Happy 2025, ladies. Good morning to half of you. To the other half, that was the loudest applause at the mention of grad school I have heard ever. Let's see if we can't wake it up here in the 10 o'clock hour, huh? Please have a seat if you're just arriving. We are just buckling up. In the spirit of the brevity that we're welcoming in from now on at this here marathon, our first up has submitted the very brief bio that they, Kyle Dacuyan, writes poetry and monologues. Let's welcome Kyle Dacuyan.
Love frequency. So I go to, okay, so you were over on the right, you remember, and I asked if you'd like, or how was your, I'm always leading with that. It's a kind of, you picked up on it. So I don't even know what I did with my eyes, but suddenly I became aware, not noticing, I mean, you were doing something with your eyes. I started reflecting that back. There's this sort of what I think is mimicry that flickers between two people just before yes, we didn't see that. Yes, there's somewhere in the other one to draw into. It's further than I ever dreamed of. What I thought were stars in you were planes, and they were leaving every night full of passengers headed to funerals, work, various affairs, romantic and otherwise, people trying to get out of this life. You leave your grief in another language or continent. You go somewhere to inhabit some fantasy of yourself. You have to expend all of this carbon to shed your disappointment with your age, your job, your standing. You have to move through security, put on this neck pillow, open the little tray, try not to get it everywhere and everyone, because they feed you all at once. We all have to go to the bathroom at the same time. So I'm just trying to get through. If I could just, go around you, and you can, thank you so much. No, what I need is for less to happen more quickly. I need everything smaller now, yesterday. Less messages, less delivery, permission, clearance, intelligence. I want less preserved, metabolized. I need a system reboot. Take me back to chat room, dial up, fax me the recipe. I want it by post, by recitation. I want it more ancient, words at the rate of chisel and stone. I need the techno-necrocrats farming a human agriculture of desire, secrecy, curiosity, obsession to stop making a crop of me so that you can give a car a mind. Stop. I just want to look at you, talk to you. I don't want to be a citizen of endless manufacture and privatized death. I don't think the package should get to me by 10 p.m. or tomorrow even. I don't think the tycoon who infects our homes with compulsive immediate junk should be the majority stakeholder of anything that calls itself the news. And I don't want reality to be an industry or a personality who governs me. I am the president of my attention, my time, and I executive ordered myself to be a huge pain in your fucking ass until the cops stop beating inmates to death, until the prisons are emptied, until genocide ends and the land goes back, all of it, until degrowth dissolves the steel mausoleums of our digital memories and the wilderness resumes, until whatever fungi whose telepathy connects us to the aliens can get the planet right again. That vibration is always and already happening if you know how to listen. My friend Amelia got new hearing aids. They have a kind of AI in them that distinguishes environmental noise from human voice. a tiny computer that draws talking forward and everything else back. But I don't want to lose the sound of wind in the trees, Amelia said.
The talents of Kyle Dacuyan flexed before your very eyes at the Marathon 2025. Let's proceed, shall we? Our next up is Mohammed El-Kurd. Mohammed is a writer and poet from Jerusalem and occupied Palestine. And his book of nonfiction called Perfect Victims comes out on February 11th of this year. Let's give it up for Mohammed El-Kurd.
Shalom. Hi. Assalamu alaikum. I was going to read poems, but since everybody went on for 20 minutes, I thought I'm just going to read for 20 minutes also. I'm going to read an excerpt from my new book called Perfect Victims. You should order the book, please, because 93% of the proceeds go to my publisher. Thanks, I worked really hard on this joke. Anyway, this is from my, one of my favorite chapters. It's called Mein Kampf in the Playroom. It's a bit on the nose, but you know, it's me who wrote it. But this is about, it's good, it's didactic, it's pedagogical. It's about when they found Mein Kampf in the Gaza Strip for the millionth time. Anyway, without further ado. The Israeli president sat in front of a menorah when he showed the BBC something exclusive his infantry had found in a children's living room in northern Gaza. A copy. I didn't get to the punchline yet, okay. In northern Gaza. A copy of Mein Kampf, and in Arabic, no less. It was proof of the real war Herzog and his men were waging. A war not against children, but against their reprehensible taste in literature. Naturally, this children's living room had been turned into a military operation base, and there it was, hiding in plain sight, a work usually tucked away in underground vaults behind laser sensors and panic buttons. What an omen. After all, this was the book that led to the worst atrocity of humankind. He told the British anchor, almost admonishing her. The terrorist who owned the book or borrowed it from the children's commune even marked it up, the president alerted us, his voice now solemn and no longer grating. A sobering moment, I think. Yes, the terrorists know how to read. What a paradigm shift. It was the talk of the town, and every jester had a joke. State-sponsored, I have a list, hold on. State-sponsored propagandists and unpaid mouthpieces alike rushed to weaponize this finding as a legitimate pretext for genocide. As there was no other explanation, the Palestinians were plotting the extermination of the Jews. Thus, the Palestinians must be exterminated. And in response to these allegations, we worked meticulously to debunk Herzog's claims. The book was planted there, we said. Look at the copy he's holding, it's pristine. Besides, there are copies of Mein Kampf on the shelves of Haifa University and Tel Aviv University, maybe Barnes & Noble in some parts of the country. The person who owned the book, we said, the person who owned the book was probably just curious and wanted to be a student of history. God forbid men have hobbies. I'm gonna go to jail. But why is this our impulse? An extremely well-trained muscle is responsible for our refutation reflex, which has become an intrinsic part of the Palestinian body. The Zionist entity has for decades been planting weapons and manufacturing evidence, laying fruit knives next to assassinated schoolgirls. But since when is a book a weapon? When did it become incriminating evidence? Why do we have to make absurdity with seriousness? Why not say, even if that pristine copy of Mein Kampf was found in a children's playroom where it was read like a bedtime story, that does not give the Zionist regime the permission to exterminate us. I once credulously believed that our testimonies would be considered credible only once we attained respectability. Colonial logic gaslights us to believe that it is our shortcomings, not colonialism itself, that stand between us and liberation. And so we spend our years on a circuitous journey towards an impossible atonement. Circuitous is just a good word, but I can't say it well, but circuitous. Anyway, almost done. But in truth, and to state the obvious, nothing renders me killable. Before I threw the rock, they stole my land. Before I picked up the rifle, they shot my loved ones. Before I made the rocket, they put me in a cage. What I read cannot be used as a pretext to kill me. Even if I filled my library with books written by psychopaths, stacking copies of Mein Kampf and Hillary Clinton's hard choices. Thank you.
On the nose as ever, Muhammad. Thank you. Next up, we have Sunny Iyer. Sunny produces art fairs, book fairs, exhibitions, productions of the like at Printed Matter and Wendy's Subway. Let's give it up for Sunny.
In the first hour of last year, I was to prevent my grandmother from escaping her own house. Dementia spiral, evenly paced laps around the mall, no wallet, no phone. Tripping on platform flip-flops. Your recipe for her world. Floating signifiers like discount perfume, all you can eat, and vacuum-sealed thongs. Making a bad sauce and pouring it over everything. By midday, drifting in the ocean on a liter of sour palm toddy, misled to a private beach, underwater with people I barely knew and my younger brother. 2 chapters on the history of agrarian uprisings in Kerala, reverse. We are to move forward into our past or equally backward into our future. Moonlight seems to disappear so fast along the shimmering hell of a moving horizon. My mother was one day away from reaching Mount Everest base camp when her mother died. We used LinkedIn to find the Sherpa, 17,500 feet above sea level. She left, but I would have stayed. Say goodbye there. Maybe you're less afraid of sadness than I am, inheriting some yellow gold. Took the long route back from high school, sticky wheel, stoned numb, black dice pumping into the seasonless air. I found my grandmother crying on the curb. She went for a walk and got lost. A part of you was born in the very same second your mother was born, and so on and so forth. I know that regret is incomplete, that starting something new means splintering loss. Regret doesn't understand the way loss can make one whole. Another year of bearing witness to a swollen river that runs to an ossuary. I have a splinter in my toe from the 2nd grade, an extra pin-sized hole in my ear my mother says is for releasing angry steam. She has two, one in each. The wars they record are the wars they win. History isn't experimental. At the party, I kept mistaking vodka for wine. My memory is airbrush and old growth. I start every year promising myself I'll research the IMF and end every year knowing less and less about the IMF. Anyway, the farmers are destroying their own land. In the lurch, roundabout, headphone splitters, we're listening to the same thing, but we can live without each other. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Sunny. Y'all ready for the next one? One of my favorite tranny showgirls to hit the scene recently. One of the kids keeping the lifeblood pumping through this here city. According to her, she's an artist and writer, producing work about living horrors and dying beauties. Why don't we give it the fuck up for Buffy?
Thank you, Charlene. There are 27 bones in the hand. 3 joints play connecting roles, as joints are wont to do, attaching parts of phalanges to each other and the metacarpals. These deltas of bone, muscle, synovium, cartilage, and ligaments wrap around each other, fan out into tips, flow back into themselves between tension and release from fanned palm to clenched fist. There are somewhere between 20 and 40 petals in a hybrid tea rose. A taxonomical index to a myriad of composite forms, fused by botanists over centuries of cross-pollination that one might also name extraction. Wings have the same component bones as an arm and hand, something of a phenotypically homological accordance charted through a philosophy of biology. Regardless, all sluts go to heaven, and all birds can fly. All ways in which beating wings echo flailing arms, somewhere between spiral and ascent on a mortal coil. For some, it's wings fashioned from shards of glass, some feathered, some waxed. For others, like bats, it's wings made from patagium, folded skin, a membrane connecting bones and providing the capacity for lift. So, what if I shattered my hand into 1,000 pieces? How do I keep from shattering my hand into 1,000 pieces? What if I plucked feathers, one by one, from wings of spidered fragments and quills cut to bits, too caught up in the quandary to notice the bones have been broken this whole time. The lake of self-effacing inquiry, an expanse of consumption, a gnawing on a wing ripped from clouds, cut by cords, souls stripped from life like fat from flesh, tattered petals playing as organs external to the fruit, frenzied frayed, spitting fire from forked tongues and flayed foreskin, I mean fish. We play in sordid scales drawn from open mouths, teeth torn from unhinged jaws, sinew hanging in silver threads, tied up in themselves, set loose at their ends. There are so many ways to lose oneself, to one day find oneself not in broken wings falling from heaven, but in heaven falling from woman. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Buffy. Make thy exit, diva. What a lucky dozen that will be. Moving forward, we're bringing Linsker to the stage. Practices and teaches psychoanalysis here in New York. They also write poems. Let's welcome them.
But the earth remains for you, the earth the world can't touch, or can, and does, it spoils it. But for we sharing, there begins no end. The earth turns blue, green, brown sharing, differentiated, differentiating, and in factual knowledge growing nowhere, but in emotion, in affectability, which turns the truth of subjects unable to refuse what refused them in the world, register that deanimating paralysis in the register of the earth. No, but this begins the second, says Zora, begins the end of the world. No body getting free of reinforcement. No, not the force you love. the constraining, not paralyzing. But look, a screen of suggestion through which equal love shines not by chance, like we came to with Grossmark by way of Ferreira da Silva. It's not just that to treat people as separable beings could be to re-traumatize them. That's what trauma is the treatment of people as separable beings, is the forcing of the illusion of separability onto subjectless being. Like Grossmark said, an analyst's very humanity can be traumatizing. The illusion of separability can be traumatizing, and humanity can be traumatizing. They are, from the river to the sea, in really being born this time, without space. Thanks.
Happy New Year, Air. Next up, we're being visited by a poet from San Francisco. Heard of it? Tenaya Nasser-Frederick is the co-author of Black Bedouin from 1080 Press with Muhammad Zinia Sadiq Youssef Ibrahim, and currently stewards the Phenomenal World Sources newsletter. Please welcome Tenaya Nasser-Frederick.
Happy New Year. Sweet baby girl. Bare branches. At the festival, all men fill my eyes over you, with your dog named Lady, moving, not passing. Nail down anything, I say. Feet square in a V gutter, then a minute left with you. When the moon wears the sky's blue, nothing would be purposefully brought to excess, each rational, unsure what to do next, except reappear from this city of life. Keep broken good news about you, and no bad news from you. Angels fly into the mistake. Splayed, your heels blue in your canceling arms, teaching children to say instead, oh wow, or oh my goodness, or coming with a sock of soap. How can I confuse soul with soul of my soul? Coke bottle colored, or tinted by wearing Gan. The summer day so true, you hand time you. It's gotten so I can deal but not take a cosmos of autumn, plant sentience, or approximate a form washed out in surface. You didn't try to call me. Has life really been like that? Or in Greek Orthodox churches, the non-naturalistic doesn't refract a sovereign light, but surely the peace one deserves means you can't ask everything. The object reassembles its disappointing pull from the general rectification. As with my brother's rangefinder, you used to be Mike. Now Mike is something I turn toward you, how he is judgmental, never feeling a thing without complaint, like a theater under the veil of reality. Leery of absolution, Lady refracted kindness from inner dialogue. When his life is finally repaired, tile and antler, for the long 1990s and a warm winter of its specular reflection here. Just a Yule under the bridge and abandoned fur, caves of red, green, and blue stars, where goodbyes bring you unremitting torture, or more than I feel, just short of reducing the incentive to work, to the next shelter of your intuition, crystal face fallen from Sirius swan, over and over, and bright circles of light on scaffolding, and self-illumined days, black holes.
Thanks, Tenaya. Love a Greek Orthodox boy. Person, no pronouns listed. I think it's high time we introduced a duo to the stage. Are we in agreement? Got a few in this hour. But first and foremost, we have Char, Jeré, and Ava Rose. The two of them are multidisciplinary artists who collaboratively craft immersive sound architectures that explore identity, intangibility, and the intersections of race, gender, and technology. Let's hear it for Char and Ava.
Black extraction, after modernity, pillowcases with grease and bleach, ceramic fire alarm, the fire this time, white picket fence, balloons, strawberry shortcake, My Little Pony, rainbow bright, horchard spills,
You may write me down in
presents,
with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise.
Do we really want to get to a place where these isms don't mean anything anymore? I think as artists we fight to humanize, especially black artists, but I'm less intrigued by the human project, more interested in the natural one, fractals now. Proving political fractals exist, may end war, knowing what you do will come back to you, not figuratively, but literally, mathematically. When did humanity die? Ida B. Well writes, Southern white men are not careful, they will overreach themselves, and public sentiment will have a reaction. A conclusion will then be reached, which will be very damaging to the moral reputation of their women.
Pumping in my living room, just like suns and like moons,
White
with the
noise,
certainty
black ear,
of
lives,
just
fugitive.
like hope springing high, still I rise.
Black noise, white ear. White noise, black ear, lives, fugitive. Smiles, tones, anger, articulation, response, responsibility, spaces, Euclidean. White noise and erasure, masculine, opaque. I don't want black noise to be the inverse of white noise. Black noise is conceptual, so it's much bigger than the sidekick or counterpart. Dim blonde, Cali Malone.
You want to see me broken,
Coming out of briefcases.
bowed head and lowered eye, shoulders falling
Dear
down like
millennial,
flip-flops.
a book about
By my
making a
soulful
millennial.
rise. Does my sassiness
White girls aren't always right. A gun, there's a 50-50 chance you could kill yourself. You look just like you came out of the casket. 13 steps of mentalism, human decency, whizzy wipes. The person that makes it doesn't want it. The person that buys it doesn't need it. The person that needs it doesn't know it. James Baldwin, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Kid sitting in front of a huge pile of food. Grandma hitting kid with broom. WWF playing behind her on the TV. Vibrational portal, Whitney Houston voice, Aretha, Nina.
Particularly at Moderna, where we have new information coming out on a
When
regular
races
basis.
die, does racism die? Or is Grandma still battling them on the other side? The fire this time. The fire this time. The fire this time.
Thank you. Big fans of the esoteric, are we here at the Poetry Project? This hour is absolutely stacked, don't you agree? And to prove it is the girl I'm bringing to the stage next, who in the past year or so has become a very dear friend of mine, and because I am much older, I'm obligated to say a daughter of mine. She fancies herself, she's one of the first, only Gen Z people I know who fancies herself a poet and really believes in the Poetry Project. I find that adorable and inspiring. She also has become quite the little diva on the dance floor since she moved here recently and moved to Bushwick. Won't you please join me in a rousing round of applause for my sister, Heather Glynis.
I love you, Charlene. Fuck, thank you, Kay. Thank you to the Sex Project, as Cecilia Gentili dubbed it 1 year ago today. What the fuck? This is not a microphone made for trannies. There we go. Whew, all right, fabulous. Happy New Year, y'all. I'm gonna read you a poem. This is a poem. It's a poem from the perspective of my deadbeat chaser ex-boyfriend, who you might know. His name is Lou Reed. Anyway. Baby, I love you. Baby, I live in the space between your clavicle and your pectus underboob. Your pussy belongs to me. You belong to me. Dumb tranny, look up at that glitter, the lies of the old light in those stars. They won't keep you warm. I'll keep you warm. You want my warmth, you want my cum, and God made your body a vessel for cum, nothing more. You're a poet, though you don't look it. I'd never guess it. So when I say, when I said the best lack all conviction and the worst are full of passionate intensity, it was William Butler Yeats. Now you figure out where I am. Bitch, out there the gyre is widening. Your gyre widens only for me. It's getting worse out there. What have you done for the war? You do your makeup. You're not ugly. All Americans think they're ugly, except for the ways they actually are. Ha. I'm hideous, seething. I'm a schmuck. I message every tranny in the boroughs. I love Grindr. Lou Reed loves Grindr. You won't see other guys. You won't get the surgery. Your gyre widens only for me. I chase you and you're not even Rachel. Man, you're slutty scar tissue, and look at those stars. There's something. The light in the vein of each leaf, the light on your foundation cake skin. Baby, you don't need the stars. You got my satellite of love. Ain't that enough? You bitch, you whore. Whore. Your body of bomb sights and boredom, and you used to be a real twink, didn't you? Homosexual, transsexual, what's the difference? I, Lou Reed, am not gay. I, Lou Reed, won't pay the full rate, no cab fare. You take the train, tell no one about this. Don't tell my friends, don't tell William Butler Yeats. Sha-la-la. Baby girl, come here. I want to do some drugs. I want to lick your open wounds. I'll piss on you. I love you, baby. You belong to me and only me. You belong. I thought I just had to let you know how I feel. Hi, this is the performance artist, Laurie Anderson. The poet in question never had a relationship with my late husband, Lou Reed. The poet is chemically and hormonally deranged, prone to delusion. The language virus has gotten to her. Like many a postmodern transsexual, she has a huge, heavy need for love and attention that outpaces even our most patient saints. All right, thank y'all. Happy New Year.
We love you, Heather. Welcome to New York, honey. I'm glad we got all that innocence out of the way, because I'm bringing some real pissers up here next. One of them is one of the poet it girls and general loudmouths, much like myself, around town. She has many accolades, which I should read. She's the author of Muscle Memory from Pank Books, and has a book coming out in 2026 in the Grey Wolf Press called Party Line. Her name is Carrero Lopez. And her new partner in crime, creatively and otherwise, is my drag sister, Untitled Queen. Now, Untitled, for the past decade plus, won't tell you how many plus, has all but held the torch for that which makes Brooklyn drag renowned as artistic. Seriously. I mean, she's standing before you already. Look at the bitch. According to her, she's a Brooklyn-based drag artist working in poetry, sculpture, and performance. Too many disciplines to name, too many lives lived, artists, friends, lovers. Let's give it the fuck up. Carrero Lopez and Untitled Queen.
Cherry Grove and the Pines, historic adjoining gay communities on Fire Island, are beautiful, easy to reach from New York City, a blast if you're with trusted friends, and a hotbed of race and class conflict. The ferries stop operating overnight, so you're stuck once the last one leaves. One time, while discussing rental price gouging in the Pines and suggesting that the safety Fire Island offers queer people should be accessible to all income levels, a gay man told me, "It's Long Island, not insulin." I'm interested in what people willingly permit for the sake of our own enjoyment. Phragmites. I've crashed a party with an infinity pool and several nude men. A Fire Island home at the back of a walkway long enough to outlast a pop song's bridge and some chorus, flanked by Phragmites on either side, tall and same-faced, so all but Reed bulk hides out from the exterior. Myself included, close to everyone here has a body of one approximate build. What would it say if I stay? Comfort's not so comfy here, but I stay and try to have a good time. Periodic beach guest, mainly through favors from men whose wealth eclipses mine and most of humankind. I know firsthand why queers come to this place. Obliterate coherence, take, go, take, till we've consumed enough to leave. Someone riding the stiffest substance cocktail he can muster, groans he's got to pee and can't, his functions stalled in the twist and now. What he can still swing is a smile. Excess soaks the Sundex and each redwood inch of the mini villa with a sweet, hot stickiness. There's much more to take in, with nowhere to go.
The nature of the room. I'm at an issue launch party for a socialist lit mag whose near entire masthead attended one of 3 elite universities, and before that, one of 6-ish elite private schools. The turnout is massive, the prose well made. There's a handful of intelligentsia-approved recent fiction big shots you could bet on naming to a stranger here to get some chit-chat going. Close to, but not all of them, white. This ratio is commonly called diversity. Cookie crumbs in a glazed mug of milk. The DJ's face is handsome. His transitions, his choices, dull. He lacks technique in DJing as well as taste, and thus must be someone on staff's friend. No one dances. There are surely folks here who like to dance, though the nature of the room prevents this sort of engagement. The nature of the room is stiff, a starched collar choked at its uppermost button. The nature of a room is like the weather of a room, if the weather were controllable, shapeable through its host's choices. These choices are commonly called, in the aggregate, a vibe. Remember those snapshots of Toni Morrison dancing braless at Studio 54? I want these writers to picture that again, or to see them for the first time, and then I want them to feel at the same level at which they think. Right here, all together, right now. I'm at a party which calls itself a party, except a party without dancing is a party only in name. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, Kyle and Untitled. I swear to God, if poets were painters, then Kyle Carrero Lopez would be rich. Who's still with me? Come on, 10 o'clock hour. Next up, we have an artist and poet who lives in Brooklyn, but was born in Liverpool. Oscar Yeho. Presents his first institutional show, East of Sun, West of Moon, at the Brooklyn Museum in the 22-23 season. Let's give it up. How handsome, Oscar Yeho!
Hi, I'm going to be reading some poems. The first one is called Keanu Dreams. The moon and stars can be yours, for I am Keanu, spiritual consultant, powerful master in love. See how it clings, teasing apart downy skin without tact or tear, as well far too ripe. Overflowing, the heaviness spills, threatening such warmth, weight, sweat, as hair splays adrift onto skin. Outside, birds quiet their gossip into hushed matins. See how we cling. My mouth's agape, loose-tongued. Is what I taste not just sweat, but the other's body, melting into the drip? Drip of my excess, from it he draws a sticky bead, gossamer cloying, fingertip tracing a delicate migration, the arc to a swallow's nest. From cleaved lips, a thread spins as it sags, a bittersweet burden, this wreath of salt and sugar, and glancing blows, grazing a jet-black thicket. From deep springs, a reflecting pool, like weeds refusing the limit of soil. The dandelion roots' great return, stretching back to that drip. So call me, 718-801-1323. One free question by phone. Okay, the second poem is called The Seat of Power. Orpheus of the Ass, to the highest seat of power I yield. He calls me Lot's wife. I turn any pillar into salt. On the ruins, the master idols, whilst angels of the demimonde fix stares, do not weep. Weaving hair, plunging back and forth to risk the earth. Surrender has tracked me for a while, long before your time. The final poem is called The Beat of Life. This was one of the inspirations for my most recent show back in October. The beat of life thuds, slams against my sternum, clenching. Hark, the bundled angel sings. Perched on my temple, she succumbs to a wry smile. This drum, a sign of life, skirting around its negation. Tonight's gambit. Or, now having risen, the sun softly pummels the salt flats of my weary face, and through dilated discs of tar, my eyes again see clouds of cornflower, cracked pearl set aflame. I remark, the sky, a sea of ambitious conceit, something unliving yet so alive. This too, another beat, another gambit. Thank you, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Oscar, for that stoic, deep voice. That's all in the past, though, honey. Y'all ready to get freaky, 10 o'clock hour? Our next up calls himself a geographer. He's a labor organizer and party chaplain, or demon, depending on how you see it, who lives between New York and, like anyone fucking someone from New Orleans, New Orleans. He's rumored to be the voice Behind the faggots are women emails so notorious online. They think it's Seva on Twitter. But it's not. It's this fucking queen. Let's give it up. Welcome her to the stage. It's Patrick DeDauw.
It's an honor to be here. When these things started happening, we joked the writers are off strike. Like when the mastermind behind our nights out, stimulating our battered gay brains, fell in love with you. Or when that stupid play about clueless people changing the world and so themselves, two by different two, fell off your shelf and split, fuck's sake, in two. Or when your mother, an atheist, but died the day I flew to the Mardi Gras, medical necessity, you said. And your call found me ashed up on Wednesday with fall-catching love as I first spoke your name to him. Or today. Hypervigilant, manic, or paranoid, recognizing one pattern too many, heavy-handed, on-the-nose miracles. Not as many dead friends as it could have been. The writers, which you insist we already are, quickly became longhand for God. And just in time, I shattered, you wept. I hated myself through you, the half of our brain that executes, for frantically not knowing already things no one would teach me. You were out on the town, I rotted in exile, worrying, you'd somehow be the worst version of me. But turns out, you organizing me into organizing you wasn't just our special thing. Proofs of concept among the hundreds. A daughter and a son who, with the clarity of different damage, force us to see each other again, would save our lives and do it again, and teach us to forgive. Yes, even. We don't have time for that. Not now. Come on. That too was God. And now it's congregation front right, the family that never was, but that makes us make it, whether we know it, what we're doing or not. God, the device, our lunar calendar, earthquakes and eclipses, reading omens from the party's last fag standing, our tweaky Pennsylvania stations of the cross, the word priestess. We're too real for this. It's humiliating. We know who has to meet, who has to stop fighting. Mom called it the project, but how to square the circle as material girls. In Telekia, you explain. What Ruthie called an unpronounceable name, but a good thing to know. I get you back. Is there a doctor of classics in the house? And is Brecht your idea of God, you ask? He sets up a gag, and then, oh, haha, good one. Or Liza, you're my mentor too, laid out on the lewds, her church's path to truth. Gay people can do anything. And when you hallucinate hard enough that I have something as fancy as a psyche or a purpose or actual faith, and had set out to teach you something, a debrief I know nothing about, I let you imagine insight until it's there and maybe start to believe it too. Meanwhile, you teach thousands not to confuse reciting wrongs, killing joy, speaking truth, opening letters, being betrayed, getting repressed, fingering hypocrites, losing but nobly, with being effective in building the power we need to turn what we have into what we need to get what we want. These things you say you learned from me and the people I tricked into training me, like that class war general on I-95 whose death we rehearsed, but I never was the help I wanted to be. That's so useful, you'd say. To the things any person can and wants to do, To you, the things any person can and wants to do can happen in a way that moves the terrain we all meet on and make you useful while you live. And you hold us to it. You won't let us get away with it. And isn't that God? Everyone's sending their best before closing time. Even our skeptics get prophetic dreams. It's not Weimar, but it's not Weimar. Is this heaving office our dress rehearsal? Is this our red orchestra? Is this foreshortened lives' full mortgage of joy up front? Is this the uneven development of human sacrifice as we watch the unthinkable become, well, you know? How can we justify this joy now? Best I can do is a training ground, its infrastructure, the historical geography of the future. Not conditions of our own choosing, but a pretty good shot, considering. The writers, man. Sometimes God only smiles once. And did. I mean, how couldn't he? A night out. She meets a lot of people. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Patrick DeDauw. So much more poignant than your introduction would lead you to expect. I hope you sleep good tonight, girl. Let's move right along, shall we? Fill into these empty seats if you so desire, because you're going to see this next one up close. Up next, we have none other than Zora, Jade, Khiry. Oh yeah, honey. Oh yeah. Bang those walls, girl. Zora is a young, lit bitch from the South. Her words, not mine. She's interested in waywardness as praxis, but everybody still knows who she is. She's also good for a good key. Come on, y'all. Are you intrigued? I know I am. Let's give it up for Zora, Jade, Khiry.
Hi. Let's see. How we doing? Happy New Year. Okay. This is for my friends of now and tomorrow. Yesterday I cried for 30 minutes, possibly more, over the promise of tomorrow. The implied certainty of a promise is a terrifying one. Do I have the capacity to expand the breadth of my love to encompass all that is to come? The heartbreak, the betrayal, the desire, the laughter, the relationships that crash in and up and rotate, flip, invert, twist, and refract the world. Will I be a disappointment to my loved ones, to my mother, to the version of myself I've created in my head? I'm young and I'm lit, but my litness is a response to the fear that threatens to subsume me. The fear that if I leave the door to my heart open for too long, the cold air will come rushing in. In some of the organizing spaces I've been in, the phrase "at capacity" is often used and misused to communicate someone's personal limits, whether emotionally, physically, or intellectually. Example being, I say, "I'd like to address the org structural racism." White anarchist replies, "I'm at capacity, sis." I quit my job last month and went on a 30-day bender. Decades passed in weeks, money converted to vibes. Joy turned to ash upon my lips. You spend 48 hours with someone 3 weekends in a row and suddenly your cells begin to unify with theirs. You begin to speak like each other, smell like each other. Their clothes become yours. You solve each other's problems. You become each other's problems. You come to new conclusions about each other and the worlds you share. You find that saying goodbye feels like starting a new book that you really enjoyed and then losing it on the L train, half unread and unseen. You will probably see this person in a few days, but what if they go on a trip and come back irrevocably changed? Am I allowed to love the version of them that still exists in my memory? That version still keeps me good company. What if I'm the one who changes? What if we only have a short time together? Surely a short time can be just as meaningful as a long one. When I was young, I never imagined myself having so many people I call friends, let alone so many people that I love, people that need things from me that I need things from. Is my heart at capacity? I don't want it to be. I want my heart to expand and stretch and form new shapes. I want it to recycle, to make new use out of the old clogged up arteries. Make a bed in my aorta. Break bread in my vena cava. Have a party in my atrium. Rip me open as long as you stitch me back up when you're done, baby. Come on in, the door is open, and the heat is on. Thank you.
Zora, Jade, Khiry, an unmatched voice in the sisterhood. Thank you. Let's close this hour out with a real stunner. What do you say, gang? Congrats on making it this far. It's a marathon after all, and y'all are making great time. And so did I, didn't I? For once. Let's round this shit out, honey. Reorganize. Set even. I mean, I see hugging, laughter, that's good, but we have more programming, and we're way behind. So I hear, I don't know, I feel like we've been killing it. Don't you all? Come on! 2025 is going fabulously so far. And in case you needed proof, that does it for me for hosting. You're welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bearing with us. Come on, it's what, the 51st marathon. So you should know how it works by now. As with any round robin situation, we're actually making great time. Sit down, shut up, there's more. But I think it's okay if, even with this interim energy, I introduce the next host. Because those of you paying attention will be very excited, no doubt. You might remember our next host from Christmas 1996, when the battery-operated Tickle Me version of him hit stores and sold out like Turbo Man. A reference to another 90s phenomenon, Jingle All the Way, Arnold's Christmas movie, anyone? Whatever. He's your favorite goddamn bitch from Sesame Street. He's perverted like we learned in the documentary. He's been a poltergeist up here on stage all goddamn night, and now we get to hear from him in the flesh. Let's give it up for your last host of the 2025 marathon, Elmo!